welcome to episode 36 of the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. My name is Ali and this is my podcast to talk about all things crochet, knitting and yarny, crafty related, all of the good stuff. I am in Kent in the UK, which is the county just south of London, where I live with my husband and our two daughters who are 12 and 7. Today's Thursday, the 20th of September. It's a bit dark. Hopefully you can see me. I don't think it's that dark. It's just a bit of a gloomy, overcast day today, which is just how I like it. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Starry Eyes Ali. There's also a podcast for this group. There is a group for this podcast on Ravelry. I've linked to it down below. It's called Little Drops of Wonderful. And all of the timestamps for everything I talk about are also underneath this video, along with all the notes about the things I talk about. So you can jump about to whatever section you want to, or miss anything out if you're not interested. I've had quite a tough morning. I've had quite a tough week, if I'm honest. I did think at some point that this podcast was not going to happen. But I've got my act together. And I'm already rambling, so that's got to be a good sign. And we've got lots of yarny good things to talk about, and that can do nothing but cheer us up. So let's press on with it. I just wanted to say a very quick thank you to everyone for your help and advice about French onion soup. And if you're already thinking, French onion soup? I thought this was a knitting and crochet podcast. Well, at the end of my last episode, I was lamenting the disappearance of French onion soup packet, dried French onion soup from the shelves of our supermarkets. Where's it gone? Don't know. But a few people came up with some handy hints. So I will be investigating those. And thank you also to everyone who gave some pattern suggestions for the yarn that I bought in Copenhagen. So they were, I've been adding things to my Ravelry favourites. And also thank you to everyone for entering the giveaway for the Cha-Cha Chevron socks pattern. I will be announcing the winner of that, which I have just literally drawn from the Ravelry group this morning. I'll announce that when I talk about the Strictly Sock Along later. So today we are going to talk about, my notes are all out of order, so I'm going to have to flick through. Finished objects, works in progress. I'm going to do a blast from the past, which I started doing last time, shamelessly copying Ellie of the Craft House Magic podcast. We're going to do some incoming things, and then we're going to talk about the Strictly Sock Along and do the giveaway. And then lastly, I'm going to do my and finally section, which this time is going to be about project organisation and planning, because I've been getting my stuff together without wanting to swear. I've been getting my stuff together and trying to get my act sorted, ready for what I'm going to be doing with my knitting and crochet. The other thing I wanted to mention before I promise I will get stuck in any second now. Oh, my mug. All you need is love, tea and biscuits, and on the daylight today, wine. Lots of wine, but not yet because it's only 11 o'clock in the morning, maybe later. And I'm wearing a lobster top. I love lobsters, and this top is from Sainsbury's, and the only reason that I knew it existed and went and bought it is because Sherrie, who is Ollie and Bella, I think I probably got that wrong, so I'll put it on the screen, on Instagram. She's got an absolutely beautiful crochet feed on Instagram. She messaged me on Instagram and said, oh my god, I've just seen this in Sainsbury's. It's got lobsters all over it. And I went straight to my local Sainsbury's and they didn't have them, but then a couple of weeks later they had them in, so I got one straight away. So I'm wearing my new lobster top because I had to have that, obviously. And I also wanted to mention that if you watched my very first vlog series, which was in June last year, yeah, so it was in June 2017, I did a vlog series. And during that series, I can't remember which day, I talked about dropping a flute off for repair at the flute repair guy, Roy, and ending up chatting to him, and he was from a very different generation, and he introduced me to the music of Jack Teagarden. And yeah, very sad. I had the very sad news yesterday that Roy's actually passed away. And I didn't know him. I met him maybe 4 times, but I always chatted to him whenever I was dropping off or picking up a flute. And yeah, so I had a little listen yesterday to Jack Teagarden. So if you're looking for a little bit of music to listen today, maybe just stream a little bit of Jack Teagarden and think of Roy the Flute Man, because he was lovely. Yeah, that's nothing to do with knitting or crochet. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Finished objects. Would you believe I have a finished object? And I hadn't even started it when last I podcasted, which is amazing because I only podcasted 2 weeks ago today. So that's pretty amazing. So this took me less than a week to knit. I started this last Wednesday and I finished it last night. And I have got it in a bag that you possibly haven't seen. No, I don't think you have. So one of the people that donated a prize to the Strictly Sock Along was Susanne. Hello, Susanne. And she is, oh, I never remember her username. I'm pretty sure she's inside number 22, but I'll put it on the screen on Instagram. She, at the moment at least, she does, as far as I know, she doesn't sell anything. But she very generously donated one of her handmade bags to the Strictly Sock Along. And she later sent another one, which I'll show you in incoming. And she sent one for me. She sent me a yellow one, a yellow and red one, because I love yellow. So she sent one just for me, and it's got the same kind of starry quilting on it in this beautiful yellow fabric with the flowers on. It's got a lovely big handle here, and you will see that I've put a little enamel pin on there. Now this is an enamel pin I also got last week, and it's the Star of Bethlehem, not Bethlehem, the Star of Bethlehem. And it is the symbol that people in the Order of Bethlehem, which is where I work. I work at Bethlehem, well, I don't work at Bethlehem Royal Hospital, I work on the site of Bethlehem Royal Hospital. And this, it was on the original deeds of the Order, so the members of that Order had to wear the symbol of the star on their robes. I probably told that little piece of history really badly. But anyway, all of our staff, because we're selling these, got our own little enamel Star of Bethlehem. So I thought that really, really matched my new bag from Susanne. Thank you so much, Susanne. What a generous thing to do, to send me that. What a surprise. And it had so happened that this arrived the day after I'd started this project, and it couldn't have matched better. So I've been carrying this around for a week. Are you ready? I'm going to reveal it. Is that the bottom or the top? I think that's the bottom. Ready? Da, 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 da. When will it end? So you can see how well it matches my bag. This is the Sockhead Cowl, Sockhead Cowl, C-O-W-L. It's hard to say that without it sounding like cow, as in K-A-L or C-A-L. It's the Sockhead Cowl, which is a pattern by Kelly McClure. I think that's right. She's the person who also did the Sockhead hat, which I made for my husband last year. And this is the Sockhead Cowl. So you start with a 2x2 rib, 10 centimetres, and then you go round and round and round and round and round and round and round, and then you end with 2x2 rib, 10 centimetres. The yarn is Gryffindor by Norah George, which was a lovely gift from a podcast viewer, Carla. She's Socks Ahoy on Instagram. And she sent me 2 skeins of this Norah George yarn. One was Gryffindor and one was Hufflepuff. And my 2 girls who love Harry Potter have been sorted. Lillia is in Gryffindor, like me, and Phoebe is in Hufflepuff, like my husband, like her dad. So we're taking them to the Harry Potter studios at Christmas. So at the end of November, they turn the studios into like Hogwarts at Christmas. So we're taking them there this year as a treat, and I wanted them to have a cowl in their house colours to wear when we go. So I started this last Wednesday night, and we did a bit of driving because we were up for, we had to go around the M25 for a party, and we were here, there and everywhere, and I just had lots of time for knitting. I was also a bit ill last week, so I had all of Friday to sit on the sofa really. I had such a dreadful cold, and I just literally sat on the sofa. I thought, I'm not going to do what I normally do and just press on and try and keep going and give everybody else my cold and end up making myself feel worse. I'm just going to take the day off work and I'm going to sit and I'm going to do literally nothing, which is what I did except knit. So I got lots and lots done then, and I finished it off last night. So I really enjoyed making this. I think it's just what I needed in a very, very difficult, stressful week. You start off, you do 10 centimetres, 4 inches of the 2x2 rib. Now I knit continental, and when I first started knitting, this would have caused me a little bit of a problem, because when you knit continental, you hold the yarn behind your work and you tension it the same way as you would for crochet. So bringing it in front of the work for purling can be a little bit awkward, and I actually struggled with that quite a lot for quite a long time. And then I somehow just got into a rhythm of being able to purl almost completely normally. It's not, I tried the Norwegian purl and this, that and the other, which is a purl technique where you keep the yarn behind your work and you just finagle it a bit. But actually now I can still tension my yarn, and I knit continental, and when I purl I just bring the yarn forward like this with my finger, so it's just a very small movement. And actually Donna of In a Pickle Knitting podcast, she knits continental, and she's done a tutorial on how she purls, and I watched it thinking that she would probably do the same as I do, but actually she does hers differently, which was really interesting. So maybe I might try and film how I do my continental purling as well, except for the fact that I have horrible fingernails, which is why I never do any little close-up tutorials, because then you would have to look at my nails. So if I can get over that, or maybe grow them and stop nibbling them, I might do a little tutorial on purling. Anyway, so that was quite good. 10 centimetres of that, and then you do 12 inches of round and round and round and round, and then you finish off with your another 4 inches at the top. It does say after you've done the first ribbing section to weigh your yarn so you know how much you've used, but actually I had about 19 grams left at the end, so I don't know, I might make a little squishy heart or something to go with it, a little lavender or something. And the next one's all balled up, ready. So this is the Hufflepuff version. So I'm going to make another Sockhead Cowl for my Phoebe, so she will have that. Oh, and here's the yarn label. I'm sure you don't need to see the yarn label for Norah George. I think this might be an older one, but you will have heard of Norah George. And it is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon. Oh, that reminds me, I also cast on less stitches than the, oh, should I put it on? I'll show you. I also used the Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off, which was quite interesting to do. I've never done that before. Hello! So what I did was, because this is superwash merino, it will, with time and wear and stretching and pulling, it will stretch and give a bit. So I actually, and because I'm making it obviously for a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old, I didn't cast on the full amount of stitches. I think I cast on about 20 or 30 less. I cast on 132, and I think the pattern actually tells you to cast on 160. So it's a little bit snugger. I prefer to have a snugger cowl, because then you can do this when it's cold, or if you want to, you know, rob a bank, no one will be able to see you. That's quite important. Yes, I'm really pleased with how that fits. I did take it off the needles a few times. I just put a lifeline in and took it off just to keep track and make sure that it wasn't going to be too tight. And like I say, it will stretch out because it is that superwash merino. So I didn't want to start off too wide and then end up having it like a necklace cowl. So I'm really, really pleased with it. And yeah, looking forward to making the next one, because this was a really soothing knit. Although I had to do it all in secret in the evenings or whenever Lillia wasn't about, because how bad is my hair now? Because obviously it's a surprise. So yeah, and that's been living in my Susanne bag, which has done me very well, and that's where the next one's going to live too. So that is my one finished object. I also have a hoe, and I've forgotten to bring down my sock blocker to show you, so I'm going to have to go and get it. Excuse me. Okay, sock blocker. So I have a half finished object, and these are living, it's a sock, in my Cosy Cute Knits sock pouch. Look how cute that is and dinky. I love these little size bags because they're just perfect for socks, and you can shove them in your handbag. And that's got Naomi's little Cosy Cute Knits label. It's just the perfect size. This was a gift from Naomi. Look at the lining. I love the line. And these are very special. So, oh, and she also made this little thing, little needle cozy or needle keeper. I can't remember. Anyway, it keeps your needles together because I am making this on DPNs. Ooh, empty DPNs because I haven't cast on the second one yet. Stop talking and show them the first sock. Anyway, I finished the first one, and this is the Beachfront Socks pattern by Lillia of Nordic Stitches, and it's part of her Summer Shorties sock collection. And I fully intend to make all of those socks, and I've actually got the yarn picked for the next 2 pairs I want to make, but I'll talk about that later. So yeah, I'm quite in need of caffeine after my morning. Okay. Thundercats, ho! This is my half finished object. It is the Beachfront Socks. It's got this lovely lacy pattern, a sort of almost a chevron-y pattern that runs along the top of the foot, and then the top of the toe is garter stitch. Oh, there you go. Now that it's not trying to focus on me. Garter stitch, and look at that yarn. Now, I am sorry to tell you, but this beautiful yarn was actually, I think, a one-off, although I do think Kelly, who is Lay Family Yarns, who dyed this yarn, did mention on Instagram that she might try to recreate it. It's called Samba, and it was a sock set that Kelly dyed last year for last year's Strictly Sock Along. She did 3 different colourways. She did the salsa colourway, which is the one I used for my Strictly socks last year, which you can see on my Ravelry page, and which was a beautiful sparkly yellow. She did an Argentine Tango sock set, which was a beautiful deep purple, and she did this Samba colourway. Now, with the Argentine Tango and the Samba, one of them was for me and one of them was for a prize, and I let the prize winner choose which one they wanted, and they chose the Argentine Tango sock set, so I was left with the Samba. And I thought it was only fitting that it got used before the 2018 sock along started, so I'm really pleased with this. It really suits the pattern, and I love the yarn. So Kelly, if you are dyeing more, let me know, because I'll be queuing up to get some. I did use most of the half the skein. I can't remember. Let's have a look. Okay, so the main colour in the sock set was 50 grams. So I divided it into 2 25-gram balls, and it did come with a contrast grey called Glitter Ball. Here is the contrast. Whoop. That's the contrast. But I didn't use that. I decided to just do it all in the Samba colourway. And I can't find my little remnant, the little bit I had left over. But I knit this entire sock and still had about 5 grams left. So it took about 20 grams to knit this. And I did it on 2.25mm DPNs, and I absolutely love knitting with DPNs. Love it. I don't know why, but my tension seems good, and my tension seems better. I talked about this a bit last time, so I'm really pleased with those. Can't wait to get started on the next one, which I might do today if I have time. I need to finish this and edit it so that you can watch it tomorrow, hopefully. So yeah, that's my Beachfront socks. Is that everything there is to say about those? I think so. Let's move on to more socks. So I think I spoke about these last time and I hadn't done the heels, and now I have. So I thought I would update you, even though they're not finished. I wonder if I can get... So I'm knitting these ones 2 at a time magic loop, 2.25mm needles. In case you're interested, in case you're new to sock knitting and wondering, if I do magic loop for socks, whether I'm knitting them 2 at a time or 1 at a time, the cable length I use is 80 centimetres. So they are 2.25mm needles, knit pro zings with an 80 centimetre cable. That seems to work well for me. I nearly spilt my tea then. And I am making this, no, not the Spellbound socks, the Enchanted socks by Naomi of Cosy Cute Knits, and I can't seem to get them untangled. Ah, here we go. So I've now turned the heels. They're still tangled up. Let me see if I can get one of them onto a sock blocker. That might be easier. Okay. Yeah, that might work. So I've put one of them on a sock blocker to give you the idea of what the pattern looks like. They're really nice. It's supposed to be a top-down pattern, but I just reworked it. It's very simple pattern repeat, and I just reworked it to do them toe up because I'm using yarn left over from another project, and I wanted to make sure I had enough. The yarn is called Hawthorn Blossom by Little French Meadow, and the green toe is a mini that goes with it. And there you can see the pattern. The colour of the yarn always comes out a little bit washed out. It's a lot warmer in real life. It might be coming out right, but it doesn't look like it is to me. It's a lovely warm kind of peachy pink with lots of speckles of autumnal emerald green in there. And it's a really beautiful yarn, and it's working really well with this pattern. And actually, even though I've already made an entire pair of socks with this yarn, and nearly 2 whole socks, I've still got this amount left. So I'm just going to keep knitting until this runs out, and then I'm going to copy Sandra from Cherry Heart and do just a little strip of green along the top of the rib. So those are the Enchanted Socks by Cosy Cute Knits in my Little French Meadow yarn. I will wrestle those back into my dodgy bag by me. This is one of my favourite dodgy bags of all time. I love it. So that is my other work in progress. Where did I put the other one? Oh, there. I'll move things out the way as I go so that I don't get confused. Now that's interesting. On my list of whips, I've written for my next object just socks, which doesn't really help, but I think I've covered all the socks that I'm currently making. Oh, something I did want to show you. I've had something that's been a work in progress, a very slow going work in progress for about 2 months, and I haven't shown you it because I keep forgetting because it's not in the usual place I keep them. So it's just down here in a box. Oh my goodness. Right, so this is the box. So on my birthday this year in April, my friend who's not a knitter or a crocheter and doesn't really understand why I'm obsessed with it, for my birthday, bless her heart, went online and ordered a mass amount of paint box yarns, just acrylic yarns in a variety of colours. She just chose the colours that she liked and filled a massive box with them. And there's also a load of lovely cotton in here as well. And now I don't know where to put it because it's massive. And I have started to make a bag with it. Now the idea for this came from Lou, who is Foxy Yarn, who I think, she used to be a yarn dyer, and she's going to be vending at Festival this year. So I'm definitely going to have to try and get along to Festival this year to go and say hello to Lou, who's dyeing some amazing looking yarn on Instagram. So she's Foxy Yarn, and I met her at Festival, I think it was Festival last year, yes. And she had with her the most amazing bag, and after that I complimented on her on her bag, which she had made, and she sent me the link to the pattern that she had used. It's a free pattern by Piro Yarns. It's called 292104 Striped Bag. Nice catchy title for you there. It's a free pattern that you can get, you can look it up on Ravelry, I think, and this is just a black and white image of it. And you basically crochet a giant square and line it and do a bit of edging and finagling with handles. And Lou also sent me after the event, I don't know if I've got them here, but she sent me some sparkly handles with which to make my own bag. Here they are. And as luck would have it, here they are, sparkly handles. They go very well with the colours that I'm using for my bag. Look at that. It's going to be a lovely autumnally nice colour. So I'm using the greens because there's some DK, some Aran and some fingering weight cotton in there, so this was the right weight. So I'm really enjoying just making a big old granny square in these lovely deep green colours. I haven't got it out in a little while just because I've been making cowls, but yes, ultimately that will be a lovely squidgy fat bottomed bag. If I'm going to festival, maybe I should try and make it in time for festival. There was a bag thing at festival last year, so there was, you could get the, when you bought your tickets, you got a pattern for a knitted or a crochet bag, and I made the crocheted one, which was by Sam of Betsy Mix. Maybe I could make a festival bag. Yeah, so that is my other work in progress, which I keep forgetting to mention. I've also put a little bit of work onto my corner to corner crochet blanket, which is living in my glorious Hannah bag. This is from Hannah of Hannah from Sheep's Alley. I feel like I'm just name dropping this episode. I feel like, oh, this is from here. Name drop, name drop. This is from lovely Hannah, who is Hannah from Sheep's Alley. She has possibly my favourite podcast of all time on Instagram, on YouTube. I could literally re-watch all of her episodes and never get bored. And this is the other side. In fact, she also, so episode, oh, which episode was it? Episode 8, I think, possibly 9 or 8. I was only watching it last night. I'm pretty sure it was 8. She gave a recipe for ginger shot, which is a kind of preventative cold remedy. And I made it last night, and my husband and I did a shot of this ginger shot last night, and we loved it. Hannah's husband thinks it's disgusting, and I can understand why people might, but we loved it. We thought it was like fiery ginger beer. We really liked it, so I'll look forward to my ginger shot later. Anyway, yes, so that's my Hannah bag, and inside my Hannah bag is my corner to corner crochet blanket, which is a scrappy crochet blanket. So this is because I was looking to make a scrappy crochet project. I didn't want to do a granny striped blanket. I found the pattern for the C to C moss stitch square or rectangle on, what blog was it? Oh, I can't remember. That's gonna, Every Trick on the Hook. Yeah, Every Trick on the Hook. She has a tutorial for free for how to do a corner to corner moss stitch square or rectangle. So basically what I'm going to do is make a giant rectangle. At the moment I haven't reached my maximum edging, but this is how it's looking. I just love it so much. This is such a joy to work on. It is slow going though, because it is single crochet moss stitch, which is double crochet moss stitch in UK terms. So you can imagine it grows quite slowly, but the way that it makes the colours play into each other and kind of merge and fade is lovely. So I've done, I think since I last showed you, I've done about 2 inches on it. Let's see if I can... Oh yeah, I really like this. I do pick this up as much as I possibly can, because what I would like to do is get to the point where once the edge that's going to be the sort of short edge of the rectangle has reached its point, I think that's the point I make the decision to then continue to increase just up the sides. I'm going to have to go and revisit the pattern actually to see if that really is the case, and then eventually I will have just a lovely riotous colourful blanket. And the lovely thing is I can remember almost all of the yarns that are going into it and where they came from. Like this green here, that is as long as I see the light, by Arctic Yarns. That was a gift from Lily. The speckly pink beside it, that is Peppermint Candy by Kate Celine. That was a gift from online friend. There was quite a few minis in there that were sent to me when I first started podcasting by Himiko no Sakai. She very kindly sent me some precious minis which are going into this. There's some Norah George in there. There's some yarn that I dyed with Kool-Aid, a little thin strip there. There's some Rosie's Moments. There is some Yarn Cafe Creations. This beautiful one here, this very speckly browny green one, that's Game of Crafting, and that was a one-off mini that I got at the Walthamstow Wool Show. I love that one. And yeah, all different ones in there. I think there's even some of my Strictly Socks yarn in there. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And this is my hook. I don't know if I've shown you my hook before. It's from Strand Designs. It's just a wibbly wob. Oh, I don't know. It's a wibbly wobbly Fimo crochet hook. I've no idea if that just, I don't know if you saw that. Anyway, I really like my hook. It's really comfortable to use. And then the minis that are next up in line, I'm balling them up and I'm keeping them in my little pouch, which was from Betsy Makes. It was a little gift from Betsy Makes, I think, when we went to festival. And I ball up all my little minis when they're ready, when I think, oh, you know, sometimes you don't want to crochet on it. Sometimes you just want to ball up a little mini because it's easier. If you're tired, you can't make a mistake balling up a mini. And then I pop them in here. That one's next up. So they're good to go when I'm ready to add my next colouring. That is my C2C moss stitch, crochet, scrappy, and all the other words blanket. I've been talking for ages already, but I also feel like I've been going at 100 miles an hour. So we move on to Blast from the Past. Okay, so this is an idea stolen entirely from Ellie of Craft House Magic. I just need to sneeze, hang on. Sorry about that. So every episode Ellie does a blast from the past where she talks about something she's made of, you know, whether it be sewing or crochet or knitting or something else from her crafting past. And I thought I've got quite a lot of stuff that might be interesting to show, but this next one I thought was particularly relevant because I'm about to frog it. Okay, for a couple of reasons, and this all relates to crochet socks. Now I have been slightly I'm very sorry about this. Cover your ears, Faye, from the Crochet Circle podcast. Cover your ears, Tamara, Crafty Escapism, if you're watching. I've been somewhat against crochet socks, but only because of past traumatic experiences, and I will now explain. I decided I wanted to try and crochet a sock. This was after I knew how to knit socks. I bought myself some of this, which none of us know how to say, sock yarn. It is a 75% wool, 25% nylon. It's not nice. I don't like this yarn. It's a bit, I don't know. Do you know what? I don't think there's anything much wrong with the yarn. Maybe it's the colour. Maybe I should just over dye it. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll like it. It's a bit rough around the edges. It's a little bit splitty as well. It's not my favourite sock yarn. Sorry, sock yarn, but you're not my favourite. I used this to make I didn't write this down. I'm going to have to put it on the screen. Pretty sure they're called the Hop Along socks, and I can't remember the designer name. And the outcome is nothing to do with the pattern. It's entirely to do with me. I don't think I swatched. I think I used a hook size that was too small, which created too dense a fabric. So the fit of this sock that I'm about to show you from my past is not great. The sock itself, you're going to be like, what's wrong with that? It looks pretty good. There's my sock. Heel, gusset, toe, lovely little detail on the cuff there. It doesn't fit, there's no stretch. When you put it on your foot this way, there is nothing, which does not make for a comfortable sock. There is no give at all. There is a bit of give this way. I mean, that is the nature of crochet anyway, but there is nothing. There is no give in this. So I think it's just too dense a fabric. I don't really like the colour, and when it came to thinking about making the second sock, this bit that you do for the fold over cuff, this is all, you work flat, working into the back loops, backwards and forwards, for what feels like a lifetime. This was tedious. I was about ready to poke out my own eyeballs with a crochet hook by the end of doing this, and the very prospect of doing it again was too much to bear. So this will never have a partner sock, nor will it ever fit anybody comfortably. So it's getting frogged, and the yarn will either go to the charity shop or be re-dyed and used in another project. So that's my blast from the past. But the reason I wanted to talk about that particular thing is that put me off crochet socks pretty much entirely. I was like, oh my God, why would anyone want to put themselves through that for such a dismal outcome? Again, nothing to do with the pattern. I didn't swatch and I don't think I did it properly, and yeah. But obviously there was a lot of talk of crochet socks. There's been a lot of talk of crochet socks in Simply Crochet, which I subscribe to. I watched Caroline of the Mind and Muse podcast. I nearly said Inspired Professor, because that's what she is on Instagram. I watch Crochet Cakes, I watch the Crochet Circle podcast. I obviously follow a lot of people on Instagram because crochet was my first love, and I still have a massive interest in that world, even though I seem to be doing a bit more knitting recently. And they are all talking about crocheted socks. And of course there is the big crochet sock along, which starts the weekend of Yarndale, which I think is the weekend of the 29th of September. I think it starts the week after the crochet sock, the Strictly sock along. So they're kicking it off at Yarndale. And there's a lot of talk of crochet socks, and there's a blog hop, and there's excitement. And well, I was thinking maybe because, you know, I don't have enough works in progress, I could possibly be tempted to try again. I don't know. I've got this crochet edits book that came with Simply Crochet a few issues ago, and it's got some very interesting looking socks in, and like I really like these ones. They're just shorty socks, so I wouldn't need to go through the pain of that really mind-bogglingly boring cuff that I had to do last time. But are they going to fit? Crochet sock people, lovers of crochet socks, tell me, am I going to like them? I like those, but I don't like the cuff. I think the cuff is too short. I think that might feel weird on my feet, but I suppose that's easily amended. I know Deanne of Added A Design, she's got a crochet sock pattern, and I feel like I trust her. I feel like I trust her to have a good one, so maybe I should do that one. Shall I do it? I don't know. I feel like I should give it another chance. I feel I should give the yarn another chance, but it might need to have another colour. Kettle just made a funny noise. Yes, so that is my blast from the past. Moving on now to incoming. Okay, I didn't talk about all of my incoming stuff last time because there was so much. So I'm going to talk about, that's cold now, can't have that. Okay, so let's talk about it now. So first of all, what I didn't talk about last time was my little French Meadow mini skein club. So this is something I sign up to all the time. It's a 3-month mini skein club. You sign up every quarter, and this was a September one that came, and each little mini skein club has a little theme. This one was Autumn Fields, and the 2 colours were apples and blackberries and lashings of custard. Comes in a little thing like that and tells you. And there's always 2 mini skeins in there and a little sweetie or 2. Which don't never last until the podcast, and there's always a little stitch marker. So this is apples and blackberries and lashings of custard. If I can get, how pretty are these? So what I've started doing with my little French Meadow mini skeins is I've now got a jar. And when they come in, I cut off the little thing so I know what they are and when they're from, and I attach it with string or a bit of thread to my mini skeins, and I put them in this jar, and eventually I'm going to make one big little French Meadow mini skein project that I can wear. But until that time, I just admire them in the jar. And the little stitch marker that came with this autumnal mini skein set was a little apple, because it's that time of year. Time for apple crumble, toffee apples. Actually, we had apple crumble the other night. My mum made us some. That was nice. Love it. And we had custard with it too, so that was very good. So that is my Little French Mellow Mini Skein Club, which, as you all know, I love. I absolutely love that. I also ordered, so I ordered some yarn from Ellie at Craft House Magic, but I can't show you it because I ordered 2 skeins, one for me and one as a present. And the person who it's a present for watches this podcast, and I don't trust her to listen to me when I say, don't look at this bit. So I'm not going to show you until it's been received. But with the stuff that I ordered, I also ordered the Hey Barbara pin, which I showed you last week. There were some other little extras put in that Ellie popped in for me, and I just wanted to show you that quickly. She popped in one of her little contrast colours to go with the yarn I ordered for heels and toes if I wanted, which I thought was really lovely of her. Ellie is such a talented yarn dyer. She does such delicate things. I can't do anything delicately. I just shove things, you know, I just go more, more, more. More is more. Whereas Ellie really gets the idea of less is more, and her colours are so subtle and beautiful. So thank you so much, Ellie, for that little mini. And she also just gave me a couple of little other minis as well. One is called Walking in the Air and one is Coming Around Again. These are both her colourways. Walking in the Air, obviously a snowman reference, and Coming Around Again is a 80s reference, Carly Simon. See what I mean? Just so pretty, so subtle. Yeah, so thank you so much, Ellie, for those. And she also popped in one of her little Craft House Magic badges, which is, so we just take it out of the packet. Why is it? I like to keep things nice. Craft House Magic pin. So I've got that, and I've got my Hey Barbara pin as well. I've got quite a collection of pins now, and I've actually decided I was going to make a bag to put them all on, but now I've decided what I might do is distribute them over many places, because so they can be seen rather than being lost in a sea of enamel badges. I want to have them, you know, on separate things. So that's my little Craft House Magic treats. And I also bought, this is something I bought at the village fair that I wanted to share with you, for £1.50 on the local Arts Network stall. There was a lady selling tiny little key rings, but I was thinking I might use it as a bag charm to put on one of my project bags. Just a little birdie. It's just made with vintage fabric, and she said she had all these remnants that she has from doing other sewing projects, and she just thought it seems a shame not to use them. So she just started making them up into these tiny little hand sewn birdies. How cute is that? So I'm going to attach that to one of my project bags. And I also ordered some yarn from Lay Family Yarn. So I'd seen this on Kelly's Instagram. And as you know, I don't need more yarn. So I have no excuse for what I'm about to show you after this either. But yes, I ordered one of her self-striping sets, and this is the Coastal Walk self-striping set, which is this one. It looks really soft, but actually when I saw it in Kelly's Instagram, the contrast between the colours of this, the blue and the peachy colour and the sandy colour and the neutral colour, is actually quite strong. So once I knit it up, I think you'll be able to see that a bit better. Also, because of the light, I think everything's coming out a bit washed up. There's a beautiful label, Lay Family Yarn, and this is called Coastal Walk Self-Striping. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. So, and this is soft. It is soft. Really looking forward to knitting this up, but it will have to go into hibernation for a little while. I've organised my yarn massively. So all of the yarn that is most utterly definitely destined to become socks is now in one place. So whenever I get the urge to cast on a pair of socks, I know exactly where to go. All of the yarn that could possibly be socks but might be something else, that's all in another place. I also got rid of a load, and then somehow I seem to have less room. I don't know how that works. Organisation apparently brings less room. Yeah, so that's Coastal Walk, my little treat to myself. And then I also ordered more yarn. The first one I ordered, and this one is for me, definitely for me. So Sam, who is Betsy Makes, she dyed up this year's Strictly Sock Along colourway. It's called Limoncello. It's amazing. It's here. I'm going to show it to you later, but seeing as it's here, I'll show it to you anyway. because I balled it up now into my Strictly glitter balls of yarn. This is Limoncello, so this is the Strictly Sock Along yarn, which is so pretty. I love it. But there was another contender when she was first coming up with ideas for the colourways, and she had a few of them available in her last shop update. So I thought, well, I can't have one and not have the other. I'm going to need to buy it. So this is the Cha Cha Charming yarn by Betsy Makes. There was only 3 of these available, and I nabbed one in like the first 30 seconds. I'm not sure. I don't think there's any left. So, but I just think this is beautiful. Is it sparkly? Yeah, sparkly. It's autumnal, it's got the reds, it's got the yellow, and this wonderful kind of shadowing almost to it. It reminds me of like sitting in the audience of Strictly Come Dancing and just being in that glittery shadows, and it being night time and the dancers' sparkly heeled gold shoes, and I just love it. So I had to have some of that. I'm never going to knit 2 pairs of Strictly socks in one go because I'm too slow, but I've got it if I want to. And otherwise I could knit my socks with this nearby because this is so Strictly, and that way I could cheat. Not that I'll win anything because it's my sock along, but I could cheat by using that as my Strictly connection. Rambling. And the other thing I had to buy, I actually went back and had to check out twice because I was like, oh, I don't need it, I don't need it, I do need it, I do need it. So I bought more because it's so pretty and it's so autumnal, and it's not actually for me. So that's okay. It's called The Secret Life of Bees. And this is a present for someone. How pretty is that, Sam? You are so clever. If I dye anything with brown, my brown just looks horrible. When Sam uses brown, it looks lovely. How does she do that? Why does my brown just look horrible and Sam's brown looks pretty? You have to be quite talented to make your browns look pretty. So those are my other cheeky yarn purchases. But I've also had some other incoming things. So I wonder if I should move on at this point. Yeah, okay, so let's move on to Strictly Sock Along, because that's next anyway. And the other things that I've got incoming are all prizes for the Sock Along. Now, I think I have now received all but one of the prizes that as far as I know, are coming. We now have enough prizes, and I just want to say thank you I just mentioned one time a few weeks ago, like, oh, if you want to send a prize for the Sock Along, you know, please do. And the response was incredible. We have an amazing list of prizes. I went through all of them in the last episode, and I've been taking pictures of them all. And what I'm going to do is create a separate thread, and I'm going to post all of the pictures with links to the makers and everything on my Ravelry thread, so you can see all of the prizes. And I will also decide in which prize category all of those prizes will be, and so that you have a really good idea of what you are entering the Sock Along for and what you're in with a chance of winning. The odds are really good because there are so many prizes for this, thanks to the generosity and talent of so many amazing makers in this incredible community of people. So I can't say thank you enough, and actually thank you's probably not enough to say. So I'm sending sparkly, Strictly glitter hugs out to you from me. Thank you so much for everyone that's donated these wonderful things, and also given me things as well. So that it's totally not needed, and I'm very, very grateful and appreciative and lucky. So thank you. Stop rambling now. The first thing that I'm going to show you, which is the next prize for the Sock Along, is from Lisa, who is Lisa Saxton on Instagram, and she is the Woolly Ferret on YouTube. So she has just started a podcast. She's only done one episode, and I loved it. She is very, very calming to listen to. I really enjoyed her first episode. Well done, Lisa. I look forward to seeing more. And she has sent me what she has described, her words, as a very dodgy, highly impractical, but oh so sparkly glitter ball bag. Now, I disagree. It is not dodgy or really impractical. It's very practical, but it is extremely sparkly. and it is very Strictly. So this is going to be one of the prizes for the Strictly sock along. It's got the double handle, and how sparkly is that? I do hope the full sparkliness of this is coming across on the video. This is her little tag. She's the Woolly Ferret. Oh, I should say her podcast is the Woolly Ferret podcast. There she is. That's her little tag. And she's got a beautiful tag that she sews on. The lining. I should show you the lining. Look at the lining. So that's her little tag that she sews on the inside. Look at that lining. This is truly tremendously Strictly, and this is going to be one of the prizes. I'm actually going to pair this with the little mini set that I had from Ellie of Craft House Magic to give away as a prize. So I'm going to pop that in. Those are not included, they're for me. Thank you, Lisa. I'll pop those to one side. You're not having those. And she also popped in for me a little mini from My Mama Knits. I love My Mama Knits, the Cheshire Cat one. And it was so funny when I opened it, because the colour that I was putting into my corner to corner blanket was a My Mama Knits in the I'm Late colourway, which is also an Alice in Wonderland colour. So thank you so much for that. That's going to go into my corner to corner blanket. She also sent me some lovely little stitch markers, and there is some stitch markers on the bag as well. I don't know if you can see, it keeps glaring. Yeah, so there's some little stitch markers on the bag there. And she sent me some lovely little stitch markers and some lovely tags. Now, Lisa, I haven't been to have a look. I'm not sure if you sell these tags. I need to go and check. But if you do, I'm going to go and buy some more. So these are tags that you can attach to handmade presents. So you've got woolly goodness enclosed. And then I made this. So yes, you do have to pretend you like it. And blood, sweat and actual tears went into making this, but you're worth it. And there's more. I like this one. If you don't like this, can I have it back? And the last one. This took forever, like literally. That sounds like something my eldest daughter would say. So thank you so much. And not only that, but she sent the sweetest card. It's lovely. It's all in this protective little envelope. It's like a little little print, a little watercolour drawing. How gorgeous is that? The little mouse with her star feely boppers. So that's going to go in a frame. In fact, I think I might have a frame of exactly that size. So that's going to go in a little frame. And we'll go in my little desk area over there. So that was lovely. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sending those extra bits and for that lovely prize for the giveaway. So that's going to be photographed and put into the Ravelry thread of prizes. But then Susanne, who I mentioned earlier, who made me my lovely red bag and has already donated a lovely, lovely bag as a prize, and some yarn too. She completely surprised me by sending me 2 more. She said I can do what I like with these. So I am going to put this one in as the prize. And of course, this is going to have to be one of the prizes for the Halloween random draw. So if you have a pair of socks finished in the FO thread in time for the Halloween show, or like the Sunday after the Halloween show of Strictly, because we have a special Strictly show on Halloween every year. It's really spooky, we love it. And obviously you have the Saturday show and the Sunday show. So if you have a pair of socks around that time that's finished in the finished object thread, then I will be drawing some randomly from there for the Halloween prize. And this is going to be one of the prizes. It's the Halloween bag from Susanne. Oh, I'm holding it the wrong way. Look at the witch on the bag. And look at the spider fabric. It's absolutely brilliant. And she's done hers the same kind of spider webby thing. And it's got the witch fabric. Oh, it's going to be hard to show. It's got witch fabric on the inside, but at the bottom, let's see if I can turn it around, it's bats. So that's absolutely brilliant. It's so Halloweeny and spooky. And she's even put some little stitch markers on as well. There's a little snowflake and a little sheep, and the handle matches the back. So So that's really, really brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Susanne. That's going to make a fantastic prize. And then she sent me this amazing Christmassy one too. Oh, this is a zipped one. So it's got this lovely kind of Nordic, sort of a linen-y fabric with the hearts on. And then on the inside, it's got that lovely Nordic-y fabric on the inside. And that is beautifully made as well, because she's just very clever. So I think with that one, I'm going to keep that because I've got someone in mind who might like it. So yes, that is so generous of you. Thank you so much, Susanne, for that wonderful Halloween-y prize. I'm so glad to have something Halloween-y to add to the Halloween draw. And then finally, all the way from Finland, from lovely, lovely Hannah, who I am her #1 fan. She sent me the most amazing prize, 2 prizes actually, which is one of the brilliant things about being able to talk about the prizes for the sock along. One of the things I enjoy most is that I'm able to talk about makers that I follow and I admire, and I can show firsthand how good their things are, and you hear of them, and then you might go to their shops, you might have a look around, and you might find a new person that you can buy bags from, or yarn from, or stitch markers from, or any of those things from, and it just makes the community better, and you get to, you know, it might increase, they might have a good day, they might make a few sales because someone's seen it on the podcast or they've heard about it as a prize, and it just, I like that. I like the fact that we can support makers in our community. That's one of the really good things for me. It's just that for me is them supporting the podcast. So they're just saying, you know, we watch your podcast, we like the idea of the sock along, we will support that, we will give you something for nothing, and it just works. It's a lovely circle of sharing, and I love that we can support makers, and I love that makers can support the podcast. And I'm making no sense whatsoever, and I can't actually remember where I started with that. Anywho, Hannah has sent some amazing couple of prizes. If you watch her podcast and if you follow her on Instagram, you will have seen, but just in case you haven't, I will explain. She was experimenting with botanical dyeing. So she got some sock blanks and she dyed them with flowers and leaves, which she put directly onto the sock blanks, and through a process which I can't remember, dyed the sock blanks directly from the leaves and the flowers. So she didn't make a dye bath or anything like that, but she actually did it directly, and it was a really interesting process, and she got a few different results, and she's donated 2 of those as prizes. So the first one, she's called them both Autumn Meets Spring. They're fingering weight sock blanks. They're 100 grams, 425 meters, 75% wool and 25% nylon. And she's made her own little label for it. You see, so this is where she's had flowers and things placed on it, and it's dyed, it's come out this yellow and blue and brown, and that is going to knit up into such an amazing pair of socks. Really intriguing. And she's made some little, well, beautiful stitch markers. These are my favourite types of stitch markers, the ones with the like the wire hangers. I think they're the best ones for slipping on your needles. So she's made those to go with it, and this is the other sock blank. So you've got the same kind of stitch markers, and this is the other result she got. So you can see it's much yellower. And then she's got the speckling of browns and almost greens and blues. They are so lovely and such a clever thing to have done. So I'm going to separate them as 2. So there's 2 prizes there. And I haven't decided yet what category they'll be, but I haven't decided that for a lot of the prizes yet. But I'm going to photograph those and add those along with the rest to the thread of prizes, and that should be up sometime within a week of this podcast, so keep an eye out, and I'll mention it in my next podcast as well. It's been 2 weeks since my last podcast, and actually that works out quite well, as I find I don't get as overwhelmed So I will try and podcast again in 2 weeks if I can. But I will just say as well, Hannah sent a couple of things for me because I'm spoiled. Oh, me and my girls, because she's ever so nice, and she sent a couple of things for my girls over the last year, and they just think it's wonderful, Hannah. They're just really appreciative of it, and they go, is it from Hannah? So she sent me some lovely mooning things. I won't show you all of it, but she sent me this. Apparently this is finished for Let's Party. This little moomin card, and she sent me some moomin notebooks and some moomin sweets and these wonderful little moomin patches, which I'm going to put on some project bag. Look. She's knitting. Is it Moomin or is it Moomin Mama? It's Moomin Mama. She's got her apron on. So that's Moomin Mama knitting. And best of all, as if you can get any better than the Moomins, one of my favourite chocolates of all time, Carl Fazza. And I have not touched a single bit of this because I wanted to show you on the podcast because I'm that restrained. Carl Fazza chocolate I first discovered because I won many moons ago, like 2 years ago, I won a giveaway from the Knitting Expat. It's the best day ever. And it was a gift of some taku wool from Finland because she had been on holiday to Finland, and she put in some Carl Fazza chocolate as well. And I just couldn't believe how lovely it was. And this particular one is with salted toffee, milk chocolate with salty toffee crunch. So I cannot wait to get stuck into that. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah! That was really daft, wasn't it? Such a dork. Right, moving on to oh, the giveaway. I didn't even mention the Strictly Sock Along giveaway. The giveaway. Right, so last time when I was talking about the Strictly Sock Along, so Strictly Sock Along generally, it's all going brilliantly. The chatter thread on the Ravelry group is really, really lively. There's lots of people coming up with really ingenious ways to bend the rules. There's lots of swatching going on, I noticed. There's lots of people swatching and they're saying, don't worry, it's not really a sock. I'm just swatching in preparation for the official cast on. So that's really good that people are so prepared, I think. So well done on those swatches that look remarkably like socks. But I think it is important to swatch. We do talk about the importance of it. So well done. The rule bending is going very well, and lots of people have been writing elaborate rules about how their own rules about how they're going to get around the rules, which is it's so funny. I just love it. So please keep it all up. I try to reply as much as I can. Obviously it can get a bit overwhelming at times, but I'm always reading it and I'm always giggling and always laughing and always adding yarn dyers to my favourites on Etsy. And it's very lively in there, so it's worth a look. There's lots of people using the hashtag on Instagram. Again, I've got to catch up with that. But there's lots of excitement being generated on Instagram as well. So please, if you're joining in, use the hashtag Strictly2018Socks and we can all keep track of what's going on. The official cast on date is this Saturday, the 22nd of September. But obviously, because the rules are cheat, basically, bend the rules. Quite a few people have started already, and yeah, so it's worth having a look at that hashtag because that's very funny too. Yes, it's all going really well. It feels really, really big and lively this year. It's hard to believe that this is the second year I've officially run it. So in 2016 I did it just on my own, just for fun, and in 2017 I said, oh, anyone want to join me for a little knit along, and that turned out to be so much fun, and this year just feels bigger and better than ever. And it's just about making the most of possibly one of the only shows that is pure family entertainment. I watch it with my 12-year-old who loves it. I watch it with my 7-year-old who loves it. I can watch it with my mum. I can watch it with my husband. We all love it. We love it for different reasons. We love it for shared reasons, and it's fun and it's happy. It's not nasty, and there's very little remaining on television that we can watch that is like that, and it is just lovely, and it just spreads some Strictly happiness, and it makes you, I don't know, it's just lovely. So thank you everybody who is joining in with that and just making it so special and really getting into the spirit of it, and I hope it really brings some happiness to your autumnal, the Strictly season, the autumn and winter season. But anyway, I'm rambling so much, you're probably like, yeah, but who won the giveaway? So last podcast, we announced that I had a pattern to give away. So Sandra of Cherry Heart has developed the Cha Cha Chevron Socks pattern, which is especially for the 2018 Strictly Sock Along. It's the one I'm going to be making. It's all ready. My pattern is in here. Here they are. This is what they look like, the Cha Cha Chevron Socks. It's with my yarn, and it's in my beautiful Betsy Makes bag. And I've got my glitter ball stitch markers in the other room, which I need to add to that. But I should also say that if you want some glitter ball stitch markers, I had some last year, but I didn't have very many. There was some last year from Crafty Cat Knitty Bits, and they were like sparkly ones, but I'm not sure if she's doing them this year. And then there were some other ones that actually look like little miniature glitter balls, and they are by Lolly Ball. I'll put her name on the screen on Instagram, and I think she's managed to make some more this year, so it's worth direct messaging her on Instagram to see if she's got any left. And I think she's going to send me some to add to some of the giveaway prizes as well. So again, I'm still not getting to the point. The Cha Cha Chevron Socks pattern is 30% off for the duration of the Strictly Sock Along. So if you would like to buy a copy of it, hop along to Sandra's Ravelry and use the code Strictly 2018, and that will get you 30% off the pattern. But if you entered the giveaway, hang around because you might have won it, so don't go and spend your money yet. There were 95 entries into that, so I opened that thread 2 weeks ago. There's been 95 responses to it, and I closed it just before I started podcasting this morning and did a random number generator. And the prompt for the so I've got this open. The prompt for the giveaway was, what is Strictly called in your country and in your language if you're not in the UK, and if you are in the UK, just give me your favourite Strictly quote. Now I think I should have just gone with Strictly quotes, to be honest, because that was hilarious. I was having a lovely time reading those. But the winner, which I drew this morning, random number generator, was number 15, and that is Tracy. She is Tracy G52 on Ravelry, and she is living in Merseyside, but I believe you are American, Tracy. So congratulations, you have won the pattern. I will ask Sandra to send that directly to you on Ravelry. And what she said was, she lives in the UK, and the quote that she could think of from the UK Strictly Come Dancing is fabulous. But my favourite, there were some brilliant ones, honestly. Pickle me walnuts, that was one that came up a lot. That was something that Len, one of our judges, said a lot. Fabulous. And then there was someone said dull, dull, dull. That was a Craig quote. But my number one favourite one, which I had completely forgotten about, where is it? Where was it? 49. Oh, yeah. So it was Sarah Lippy. She was the first one to say this. And I'd completely forgotten it. She said, I remember this one from Len Goodman a few years back. It made me laugh at the time. And it was, you flew across the floor like a rampant crab. I loved Len. Oh, Len also said one of my favourite things of all time. He said it on his Desert Island Discs interview, but he also said it on Strictly. And he always said, he is a cup of tea in a world full of lattes. And that's how I feel. Cup of tea in a world full of lattes. I am a Toyota Aygo in a world full of 4x4s. Oh, bring back Lynn. So well done, Tracy. You have won the pattern from Sandra. That will be winging its way to you via Ravelry. And thanks to everyone for making me laugh so much with your responses. I had such a nice time reading them. Okay, last segment. I really hope I haven't been talking for hours and hours. I wanted to do an and finally section. So my and finally section is where I talk about anything I like. It could be crochet and craft and knitting related, or it could be just about anything. Last time it was French onion soup. This time it's about project planning. So I have been getting thoroughly overwhelmed. Like, partly with, I haven't got tons and tons of whips on the go. I am working my way through them. I do have my problematic whip, which is a top I'm making for my daughter. I'm not enjoying it. I'm finding it difficult. I haven't talked about it in a while because I haven't done anything. I do need to move on to doing that and not stop distracting myself with Cowls. And that is making me a bit stressed out. So I do need to move on with that. But mainly it's the list of things in my head that I would like to make and do. So what I've done is for the first time ever, I've decided to make use of my Ravelry queue, which I haven't done before. And I actually found it really useful. So I went through all of the things I had in my favourites that I knew had been floating about towards the front of my mind, or there's a couple of things that I want to make that I've been talking about making alongside other people. We want to make the same pattern, so we might as well make it at the same time just for fun. So I knew there were things that I wanted to do there. So I've started pulling it together in my Ravelry queue, and that seems to be motivating me to sort of see them sitting there and think, right, I know I want to do that, and you can put the time that it needs to be done by. So for example, at the top of my queue is another Mary Margaret tam, which is a beautiful pattern. My eldest daughter dyed some yarn for me to make her one. So I've had that yarn balled up for quite a long time, and I need to get on and make that for her. So I know that's top of my queue. I know I want that done in time for Christmas. So and then next on the queue is the 2 Cowls, because they need to be ready by mid-November, and so on and so on. So I found that really helpful. So I don't know if you can see other people's Ravelry queues, but if you want to go and see mine, and you can, feel free to go and have a look. And you can also make notes about the yarn that you want to use. So for example, one of my projects, I bought yarn specifically in mind for the project. It's the Rosewater shawl, and the yarn I had bought specifically for it was Starry Night by River Knits UK, and I just thought it had the right play of plain knitting along with some lace knitting along the edge. So I know now when I would like to make that, and I can make a note of the yarn, and then I can see where it sits in my queue and its kind of priority that it gets against other things that I might want to get done for Christmas. So that is really, really helping me organise my thoughts in my head. I do like to use Ravelry for pattern organisation and project pages. I'm not so good at the social side and the forums of it, although I am getting better, but I do find it an extremely useful tool for keeping track of what I've done. For example, with that cowl, the Sockhead Cowl, I can write in there with my project notes how many stitches I cast on, and I know if I want to make one in future, I can just go to my Ravelry page and get my notes and see exactly what I did last time. So I find that really helpful. The other thing that I wanted to mention in this kind of and finally section is that there will be coming up very soon, but I'm not going to say just when, but sometime soon in the next few months, another cowl that I'm going to be involved with, which I'm going to be running. I hope it's okay to say this. Oh, well, I'll say it. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to be running it with Becky from Back to Blighty. She is a fabulous yarn dyer here in the UK, and she also has a podcast. She's also an amazing sewer. So it's worth checking her out. But we're going to be running a little wintry cowl later in the season, which should take us through Christmas and out the other side into those cold January, February months. And that's going to be really exciting. I've got a couple of prizes put to one side for that, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit different to anything I've done before. So that was a kind of, to be revealed little teaser for you. So I'll be talking about that probably in a few podcast episodes time. And the other thing I wanted to mention was one of my favourite podcasts is I'm going to get this in the wrong order, the Cosy Cottage Crochet. Cosy Cottage Crochet. The Cosy Cottage Crochet. I was right. So yeah, Hannah, who presents that, is such a lovely, happy human being, and she's just a joy to watch. She's very bright, and yeah, I really like her podcast. And she's also a crochet designer, and she's going from strength to strength with her patterns. And she designed a pattern called the Sanibel chevron shawl, and I had been admiring it. She showed it on Instagram. She made it in cotton. I'm going to show you a picture of it. This is lovely Hannah on the beach wearing the Sanibel shawl. Oh God, it's going to just reflect, isn't it? I'll tell you what, instead of doing that, I'll put a picture up. I'll put a picture up around me. If I move to the side, there we go. So I'm going to put a picture up. So this is Hannah on the beach wearing her Sanibel chevron shawl. And the reason that, I mean, I was admiring it anyway. It's a lovely shawl. It's quite an unusual shape. I'm going to see. I will also put a picture up of the kind of shape of it. It's like a triangle without the points at the edges. Sanibel in Florida, in the Florida Keys, is a place that my dad, who died in May this year, loved more than anywhere in the world, really. He travelled a lot. He retired early. Him and my stepmom retired early, and they travelled a lot. And one of their favourite places in the world was Sanibel. So the fact that it was called Sanibel, and Hannah has gifted me a copy of this pattern, is lovely. It really is. And I think I'm going to make one for my stepmom. Because it's a special place for her too, and I think I'm going to make one in some pinks for her, because I think that would be a nice memory for her, and her favourite colour is pink. But as well as offering a giveaway, as well as offering a copy, as well as giving me a copy of that pattern, which I'm so grateful for, thank you, Hannah. But she gave 2 copies to the podcast to give away. So I'm not going to do this week. I'm going to have a think about it, think about my prompts, think about how I want to do it. But she's given 2 copies of that pattern to the podcast to give away. She's also going to give me 2 copies of her latest pattern, the Falling Ivy shawl. I'm not going to even attempt to hold up the iPad. I'm going to put a picture up here of her Falling Ivy shawl. Oh, it is beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. I don't know which one of those 2 things I want to make first. I'm going to have to add them to my queue. Have I added them to my queue already? Possibly. I can't remember if I've been that organised. Yeah, so that's 4 patterns in total that she's donated. 2 patterns with 2 copies of each. Evidently I need more tea. So it's 2 patterns, but 2 copies of each, 4 in total, that she has donated as giveaways for the podcast. So I will be doing that soon, but I just want to get my head around how I want to do it and yeah, make it work. So I'm going to just put those to one side and then come back in a podcast or 2 and offer those out. So thank you so much, Hannah. That is such a lovely thing to do, and I'm especially touched to have a copy of the Sanibel shawl because of just what it means to our family. So thank you for that, Hannah. I think that's everything. Let me just see if I've written anything else randomly down. Blah, 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 blah. I think I am done rambling. Well, who would have thought it? I think this might even be under an hour. So I'm going to bid you farewell, and I am going to try and podcast again in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, get your glitter balls ready. Get your hooks and your needles and your project bags and your glittery stitch markers, your fake tan if you feel you must, and your feather boas, and get ready for Saturday night, the 22nd of September, for the first official cast on date of Strictly Come Dancing. And may I just say, I think I am going to be team Danny John Jules, because I was a die-hard Red Dwarf fan. Yeah, so if you're I don't know if Red Dwarf ever made it outside the UK. Red Dwarf was a programme in the 90s about a group of men abandoned on a spaceship. You'd have to maybe look some clips up on YouTube. Danny John Jules played the cat. Yeah, it's too hard to describe that. I think I need to go now before I just go into a pit of rambling. So I really hope you've enjoyed this rambly, fast-paced RE podcast today, and I hope you got some lovely crafting done whilst watching, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time, and don't forget to join in with the Strictly Sock Along. See you next time. Bye!